Hey there and welcome back to Mass Effect. My name is Pete and today we complete the assault on Saren's base. In the last episode we fought our way through hordes of Geth on the surface of Virmire, and we also managed to solve a potentially fatal confrontation with the Rex peacefully. Today we will take the fight to Saren himself, and for that we need to talk to Captain Kirrahe.
Thank you for speaking with the Krogan. The assault on Saren's base will be difficult enough as it is.
Well, that looks to me like you already made some plans.
I assume that means you've come up with a plan.
Of sorts. We can convert our ship's drive system into a 20-kiloton ordnance. Crude, but effective.
Nice. Drop that nuke from orbit, and Saren can kiss his Turian ass goodbye.
Unfortunately, the facility is too well fortified for that. We'll need to place the bomb at a precise location.
And where would that precise location be exactly?
Where do we take the nuke? And how do we get there?
The bomb must be taken to the far side of the facility. Your ship can drop it off, but we'll need to infiltrate the base, disable the AA guns, and pacify any ground forces first.
You want us to go in on foot? We don't have enough men.
Yeah, Kaidan does make a fair point here.
We won't be able to meet their force head-on.
Definitely not, but I think we can work around that. I'm going to divide my men into 3 teams and hit the front of the facility. While we've got their attention, you can sneak your shadow team in the back.
And are you sure your team can really handle that attention?
It's a good idea, but your people are gonna get slaughtered.
We're tougher than we look, Commander. But it's true. I don't expect many of us will make it out alive. And that makes what I'm going to ask even more difficult. I need one of your men to accompany me, to help coordinate the teams.
Okay, that truly is a bold request. After all, the infiltration team itself might need all the help it can get.
You expect me to commit one of my people to your command?
We are all soldiers by trade. If your people are not prepared to face such a risk, would you really want them by your side?
He's right, Commander. We can't do this without both teams at their best. I volunteer.
Not so fast, LT. Commander Shepard will need you to arm the nuke. I'll go with the Salarians.
With all due respect, Gunnery Chief, it's not your place to decide.
Why is it that whenever someone says, with all due respect, they really mean kiss my ass?
Well, maybe we can leave this decision up to the captain himself.
Who would be better suited to the mission?
Either of these 2 will do, Commander. Both seem willing to sacrifice their lives if necessary, though if we are lucky, such sacrifices won't be required.
Okay, if you're now thinking that this is the choice, then this is not the case. This choice simply affects who we have available to take with us on the infiltration team, and since I did actually plan to take Kaidan with me, we can leave Ashley with the Salarians.
Williams, you'll accompany the captain. No heroics, understood?
Aye, aye, Commander.
I will have the ordnance loaded onto the Normandy and brief your crew on its detonation sequencing. Do you have any questions before we go, Commander?
Alright, time to ask a few questions and learn a bit more. And first of all, if Ashley is staying with you guys, I'd like to know more about the other teams.
Shadow seems clear enough. What will the other teams be called?
Igor, Manovai, and Jaeto. They were the initial settlements on our first 3 colony worlds. They are at the heart of Salarian territory to this day. These names will remind my men what they are fighting for. They must have a personal stake in the fight if we are to have any chance of success.
Fair enough. Now, assuming we do succeed, how do you plan to escape?
The Normandy's picking me up. How will your teams escape the blast?
We will engage the Geth as long as possible. Once the bomb is in place, we will fall back to try and escape the blast radius. If we move quickly, we should be able to escape with acceptable casualties. If not, then our memories will live on as martyrs to a greater cause.
Now, I'm not quite sure I'm all that happy with the risk attached to this mission, especially if one of my squad members is with you.
You talk like this is a suicide mission.
I won't lie to you, Commander. There is a chance none of us will survive this assault, even your team. But we do what is necessary.
Okay, now with the success of this mission still very much up in the air, can you at least reassure us about this whole nuke business?
I want to know more about the bomb. How reliable is it going to be?
Its reliability depends on the person arming it, but it will do the job. The drive system is highly impervious to damage from external sources. Once it has been armed, very little can stop it. The key is getting it into place and armed before the Geth can stop us.
Yeah, I assume the Geth will have slightly different plans. And just for the sake of completion, please give us one last overview of what's going to happen.
Give me a quick rundown of the plan again.
You are Team Shadow. We will create a distraction while you infiltrate the base. Make your way to the breeding grounds at the heart of the facility. Disable the AA guns so the Normandy can land and deliver the nuke. If we get that far, we'll try to help you with guns, but don't count on it. Once you have the bomb, place it next to the geothermal taps. Then get out before it detonates.
Alright, we don't really have anything else to do here, so we might as well get started.
I'm ready when you are, Captain.
Excellent. Then if you'll excuse me, I need to prepare my men.
Well, this is it. Don't do anything stupid while I'm gone, LT. You too, Commander.
We'll be fine. You'll see.
Yeah, Good luck.
Well, Ashley seems a bit more worried than usual.
Is there something you want to say, Chief?
I don't know, it's just weird, going under someone else's command. I've got used to working with you. All of you.
Don't worry. We'll see you on the other side.
I know, It's been an honor serving with you, Commander.
And maybe a few inspirational words can help her out here.
It doesn't matter if we're not in the same unit. We're still a team. Watch each other's backs, keep your eyes open, and fight like I know you can. We'll all come out of this in one piece.
You bet, Commander.
You all know the mission and what is at stake. I have come to trust each of you with my life, but I have also heard murmurs of discontent. I share your concerns. We are trained for espionage. We would be legends, but the records are sealed. Glorying in battle is not our way. Think of our heroes. The silent step who defeated a nation with a single shot. Or the ever-alert who kept armies at bay with hidden facts. These giants do not seem to give us solace here, but they are not all that we are. Before the network, there was the fleet. Before diplomacy, there were soldiers. Our influence stopped Arachni. Before that, we held the line. Our influence stopped the Krogan, but before that, we held the line. Our influence will stop Saren. In the battle today, we will hold the line. Good luck, Commander. I hope we will meet again.
Alright, for the assault on Saren's base, we will take the tried and tested crew of Rex and Kaidan with us, which should give us plenty of biotics, just enough tech skills, and also a nice amount of firepower.
Comm check. Do you read me, Commander?
Yes, we do.
Loud and clear.
Good. We'll start our push. We'll try to make it to the AA guns, but it might be up to you to finish the job. And Commander, if you see any way to undermine their defenses, we could definitely use the help.
Alright, first things first, since we had neither Rex nor Kaidan with us in the last episode, we need to do a bit of equipping. I did all of that off screen because we upgraded them with the usual stuff, a bit of extra damage protection and shields for Rex, and improved shield and health regeneration for Kaidan. And now, let's get moving.
Shadow is on the ground. Repeat, Shadow is on the ground. Chief Williams.
Alright, everyone's moving, and it doesn't take long before we meet our first group of Geth. Now, our objective is not only to get rid of the Geth, but also to keep in mind what Kirrahe said earlier. He told us that if there is any way to weaken Saren's defenses, we should definitely do so. And that is something he mentioned a bit on the side, but it's actually quite important to keep it in mind. Now, the Geth are both in strength and numbers comparable to the ones on the gatehouses in the last episode, so clearing this first outpost shouldn't be too hard, even on insanity difficulty. After opening the weapon locker, we can then assist Captain Kirrahe for the first time, as we disrupt the Geth communications with the console over here. This gives us 2 Paragon points and is the first of 4 actions we can take during this assault to make life a bit easier for the captain and his crew. And taking these actions actually does have a pretty noticeable effect on the mission's outcome. For the moment though, Kirrahe can give us a quick update.
Something scrambled. They're targeting. We've got a shot. Chief Williams, take the heat off Manavai.
Yeah, and that update was a direct result of our actions earlier, so it seems like, at least for the moment, things are going better than expected. However, we are quickly also met with more resistance, and this time the Geth are also sending in drones, so we have to be a bit more careful.
They're calling SAT strikes. Jayeto, watch for comm stations.
Alright, next problem, satellite targeted attacks, but that is actually something we can very quickly take care of. Once again, we receive 2 Paragon points for our actions, and can now focus exclusively on clearing the Geth outpost. And this outpost is also the first time on Virmire we meet one of Saren's Krogan warriors. Now, interestingly enough, despite having only just discovered that Saren is breeding an army of Krogan here on Virmire, this right here is actually not the first time we meet one of those Krogan. Next to large amounts of Geth, we also fought several Krogan back in the Exogeny headquarters on Pharos, where they accompanied the Geth forces. Now, this specimen right here seems to have survived a rather deadly fall, although he's now gotten himself stuck in the process. This now adds a few seconds to the fight, but doesn't really pose too much of a threat for us. The problems are not entirely dealt with yet, however, as Ashley will gladly tell us in just a second.
Aircraft heading to perimeter stations to recharge. Bunker up before they come back.
Right, seems like Ashley and the squad are being attacked from above, and maybe there is once again something we can do about that. For the moment though, we have to fight our way across the walkway here, a walkway that is unsurprisingly once again crawling with both Geth and Krogan. For this platform here, it is a good idea to take out the first Krogan as soon as you see him, because there is a second one up there who is slightly further in the back, and if you wait with the attack until everyone is on top of the platform, then you might have your hands full. This way you can single them out, focus all of your fire on the same target, and that generally makes things a lot easier. Now there is also some loot here that can easily be overlooked in the heat of the battle, and even though it's not much, this is a completionist playthrough after all, and so we will grab everything. The containers on this platform here cannot be looted, even though they look like it, but over to the left here is more stuff we can grab. Not only can we find an upgrade kit over here, but this is also a very nice vantage point. From here we have a good view of Saren's base, where a few more enemies will need to be taken care of later. For now we can return and we will go left here. The path straight ahead will lead us back to where we started with the walkway part, but we want to push forward and maybe also find a solution to the aerial attacks. And that right here looks exactly like the source of the problem. So all we have to do now is take out these drones. Now, using a sabotage early here, just like we did, has quite the explosive effect, because there is, or better there was, a fuel tank in the back of the platform, and using sabotage in the proximity of that fuel tank will cause it to blow up. That of course also does significant damage to the drones itself, and therefore makes the fight a lot easier. And with that, we have destroyed the Geth flyers and have once again made things a bit easier for Kirrahe, Ashley and the Salarians. Destroying these flyers gives us 4 times as many Paragon points as the previous 2 actions did, so it is definitely one of the more rewarding methods to help Kirrahe and his team. All that is left now is to engage the base itself, and while we do so, let's actually talk a bit more about Kirrahe. Now, I'm trying to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but helping Kirrahe out is, as you can imagine, vital to his success. Now, we already completed 3 of the 4 tasks to help him out, and that is actually enough. Any less, and Kirrahe and his team will have significant issues. Anything more? Well, can't really hurt, but also doesn't give us any additional bonuses.
Air threat has not materialized.
And here Kirrahe confirms the air threat has not materialized, because we took care of that threat ourselves. And with that, Kirrahe, Ashley and the Salarians should be safe for the moment, which allows us to talk a bit more about which way we actually want to engage here. Saren's base offers us 2 different ways to enter. Those 2 ways are somewhat mutually exclusive. Not entirely though, you can visit certain areas no matter which way you take, but at least the number of enemies you're facing varies a bit depending on where you go.
Shadow team must be getting close. Hold the line, men. Hold the line.
Now, the obvious path would be to take the door on the left here. This would lead to another short fight outside of the base, before we can then head inside to an area that we can access either way. One thing to note is that this area will have slightly more enemies if we access it this way. Now, as you can see, we are not taking that approach. Instead, we will go through the base underworks. The entrance to that is somewhat hidden below this platform, and it also requires easy decryption to unlock. Taking this way would give us access to more enemies and also more loot than the other way would, and I also think it fits the whole narrative of us infiltrating the base a bit better. As you can see, we are pretty much crawling through the sewers here, which does have a slightly more stealthy feel to it than barging through the front door. That feeling, however, is not going to last long, because in just a few seconds we will see a few red dots pop up on the compass, and so the firefight continues. Let's also not overlook the technician kit on the right here, that will give us 2 upgrades, and then we can proceed to eliminate the indoctrinated Salarians.
The captain said something about losing some men. This has to be more of that indoctrination we've heard about, Commander. What is this place?
Well, looks like Saren already went to work on the Salarians. Maybe we can send them a message.
We've got access to base security. Should be able to cut the alarms from here. Might even be able to trigger alarms on the far side of the base. It'll clear the guards out for us, but they might be too much for Williams and the Salarians to handle.
Now, this is why we completed all 3 tasks to help Kirrahe out earlier. Because we did, Kirrahe and the squad are now still strong enough to take care of the additional guards, which makes our approach a bit easier and most importantly gives us a few renegade points.
Williams can take a few more. Minimize the guard presence in the base.
Aye, aye, Commander. I hope Williams is ready for this.
Alright, 9 renegade points for luring more guards over to Ashley and the Salarians, but like Shepard already said, they should be able to handle it. For 8 Paragon points, the alternative would have been to lure the guards over to us, but we don't really profit from that. Kirrahe doesn't need additional protection and we don't need the Paragon points. What we could use though is a bit more loot, and there is a large assortment of crates hidden around the corner here. After grabbing everything, we can head upstairs where we can also replenish our Medigel. However, I'm only grabbing this for the sake of completion as we are stocked full on both Medigel and grenades. That next door here is interesting though, because it will lead us to the first cell block. And that cell block is at least temporarily the home of a rather strangely behaving Salarian.
What do you want? I told you everything. Who are you? Alliance, right? I knew someone would come. It tried to break me, but it couldn't. I shut it out.
Alright, it seems like this guy is also suffering from the indoctrination symptoms, although he seems to have at least a glimpse of his own mind left.
Slow down. I need to know where you came from.
Private Mano Savat of the 3rd Infiltration Regiment STG, sir. Captured well on reconnaissance 6 days ago. Glad to answer, sir. Never any questions from these bastards. Just whispers and poking and cutting. I said anything to get out and get some payback. That's not too much to ask, is it? A little payback?
And it looks like Saren is experimenting on more than just Krogan down here, and we can learn a bit more about that from him.
What do they do to you, soldier?
Experiments, but I don't know what for. The effect of incessant whispering on my shortening temper? Who knows? I just need out.
Something's not right here, Commander.
Yeah, I would agree that letting him out is more than just a bit risky.
Setting him free could endanger the mission.
No. I need to get out. This room is too small and it keeps talking and I really want to get out of here and get some work done. I need to get out. Let me out.
Alright, decision time. We could either let him out for Paragon points or refuse to do so for Renegade points. And since we need the Renegade points and Kaidan has brought up some valid concerns, we will choose the latter.
I can't take that chance.
Can't take that chance. No chance. I need to do what it says. I have to. Let me out. Let me out! Let me out! Let me out!
Now, this decision might look a bit cruel at first, but it also makes sense if we look at the consequences. Letting him out would have sadly resulted in him completely succumbing to the indoctrination, which then would have led to a rather lopsided fight. Now, one might argue that death might be a salvation for the indoctrinated, but from a story standpoint, keeping him locked in was definitely the safer choice.
The captain was flanked. Aegor, form up with Jaeto. We need to stall for time.
Now we hear from Ashley that as a result of us sending more guards over to the Salarians, Captain Kirrahe has been flanked, but with the alarms now deactivated, the distraction team should be fine. We now have 3 doors to choose from. One is the elevator that we will leave for last, another one will give us access to another cell block,
Hello? Is someone out there?
and the third one that we're just passing through will transport us over that cell block. We will deal with the Salarian commander we just heard in just a few minutes. For now, we can access the area that we would have come through had we not chosen the way through the underworks. Now, this area has slightly less enemies than it had before, but 1 Geth Juggernaut and a total of 4 indoctrinated Salarians still remain. Taking them out is not all that hard if we focus on the Juggernaut first. Despite very likely being former Salarian task force members, the indoctrinated can't really stand up to us. Before we leave again, there is another aid station on the wall here, and that is also everything we can loot in this area.
What was that noise? What's going on?
We could now technically venture a bit further and back to the outside area, but there's absolutely nothing there. And since we're not here to enjoy the view, let's return and deal with that second cell block.
Well, you're not a Geth, and you're not wearing a lab coat. I guess I'm glad to see you. Lieutenant Gonto Imnes of the 3rd Infiltration Regiment, captured during recon. I assume the fleet was called in to destroy the base?
Well, the fleet might be a bit of an overstatement.
The transmission wasn't clear. The fleet's not coming.
I see. Then you must be the infiltration team. I know the captain. He will want this facility destroyed. My team was altered, indoctrinated. He knew about the breeding grounds. But the indoctrination is a greater threat, and far more horrifying. I watched good people reduced to mindless husks. There wasn't anything left. Others died during the experiments. I envy them.
And just like the other Salarian, we can ask him about the experiments, although I expect a slightly more cohesive answer this time.
Do you know anything about the experiments they were conducting?
They were studying indoctrination. Symptoms, progress. Saren uses it to control his people, but I don't think he fully understands it. I don't know much else. I just saw what it did to the others. Turned them into empty husks. I can't end up like that, please. Let me out.
Now, compared to the Salarian we met earlier, this one does not seem to suffer from indoctrination, and since none of our squad members seem to object, I think letting him out is the right idea here. However, we can still let him out after grabbing ourselves the renegade points for refusing to do so.
If I let you out, how do I know you won't just attack me?
It's obvious that I'm not crazed or drooling like the others. Let me out and I'll stay out of your way.
And yes, we will actually go through with this and tell him that it's too risky.
Sorry, I can't take that chance. I'm not opening your cell.
No, don't leave me here. Please.
Alright, we have received 9 renegade points for that, but since the lieutenant has not gone crazy, we can now safely let him out.
Please, don't leave me here. I don't want to end up like the others. I saw what those experiments did to them.
I'm opening your cell, but then you're on your own.
Don't look back and hope to outrun the blast, A better chance than I had before you showed up. Thank you, human. And good luck. You'll need it.
And that is how we get both the Renegade and the Paragon rewards for this conversation. Now, however, one more choice has opened up.
No threat here, Commander. Are they even aware of us?
No, this is no way to treat a prisoner. Kill them, sure, but to leave them like this?
Now, the Salarian lieutenant just described these guys as mindless husks. Others of their kind have blindly attacked us before, and Drax actually also makes a very good point here. So we will use that to grab ourselves 2 more Renegade points.
Better to die than to live like this.
Just mow them down, Commander?
I'm all for it. Every second like that must be torture. I know I'd sooner be dead.
Now, once again, killing the Salarians might seem rather cruel at first, but if things go according to plan, they would be dying in the nuclear explosion later on anyway. At least this way we can make sure that Saren can't use them as cannon fodder anymore. With all possible areas cleared or otherwise taken care of, we can now take the elevator, which will bring us to the labs. As we arrive, we discover a few husks who seem to be held in stasis and therefore don't attack immediately. However, a firefight is unavoidable here, and after investigating the machines, our enemies attack. Apart from the husks, we also have an Asari scientist against us, as well as the Krogan Dr. Droyas. And Dr. Droyas is likely the enemy to focus first on here, not only because he's a Krogan and therefore significantly tougher than the rest, but also because he has access to sabotage, which could turn out fatal if our weapons are disabled while we're being swarmed by husks. Once Droyas and his assistant are taken care of, the fight becomes a lot easier, especially since there are a few obstacles in the room for the husks to get stuck on. Once the fight is over, we will head back to where we came from for some loot. On the table over here we can grab the contents of both a wetware and an upgrade kit. Now, before we proceed through the door on the left, there is also a medical station in the back of the room, and of course we don't want to miss out on that, even though it will likely only give us a few items we don't really need. Yep, 2 Phoenix armors and 3 Medigel, not really what I would call a jackpot, but still better than nothing. Now it is time for us to make our exit out of the lab, and the door over to the right here will help us in that regard. We now find ourselves back outside, however only for a short moment, as behind the 2 Geth troopers over here there is a door into the next area. The Geth don't offer much resistance, and so we can now proceed to what is likely going to be the second most important conversation in this video.
All targets down.
Don't shoot! Please, I just want to get out of here before it's too late.
Well, so far we're 50-50 on letting people out, but feel free to make a case for yourself.
Let's hear it. Who are you and what do you want?
Rana Thanoptis, neurospecialist. But this job isn't worth dying over, or worse. You think the indoctrination only affects prisoners? Sooner or later, Saren will want to dissect my brain too.
I must admit, with this being a breeding facility, so far I've seen a lot of indoctrinated and not a lot of Krogan.
I thought this was a breeding facility.
Not this level. We're studying Sovereign's effect on organic minds. At least that's what I assumed. Saren kept us in the dark as much as possible.
You helped him and you don't even know why?
I didn't have the option of negotiating. This position is a little more permanent than I had expected. But I can help you. This elevator behind me goes to Saren's private lab. I can get you in. See? Full access. All of Saren's private files. Are we good? Can I go?
Well, we will make that decision later. For now, let's pick one of the most important dialogue options in the game, as this reveals a lot about what's actually going on.
What were you studying here?
It's that ship, Sovereign. It emits some kind of signal. Undetectable, but it's there. I've seen the effects. Saren uses it to influence his followers, to control them. It's called indoctrination. Direct exposure to the signal turns you into a mindless slave, like the Salarian test subjects. But there's collateral damage, too.
Collateral damage? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by collateral damage?
Sovereign's signal is too strong. Spend too much time near the ship and you feel it, like a tingle at the back of the skull. It's like a whisper you can't quite hear. You're compelled to do things, but you don't know why. You just obey. Eventually, you just stop thinking for yourself. It happens to everyone at the facility. My first test subject was the man I replaced. Now I just want to get out of here before it happens to me.
So, do you have any idea how this signal works?
Tell me more about this signal.
Signal's not exactly the right word. There is some kind of energy field emanating from the ship. It changes thought patterns. Over time, days, maybe a week, it weakens your will. You become easier to manipulate and control, but it's a degenerative condition. There's a balance between control and usefulness. The less freedom a subject maintains, the less capable it becomes.
A point that became very obvious when fighting the indoctrinated Salarian STG forces. Now, what I would still be interested in is why Saren has the need to research all this.
Why is Saren researching this? Isn't he the one controlling it?
The signal comes from the ship. It makes us obey Saren, but I don't think he controls it. Not exactly. I think he's scared it might be affecting him. Indoctrination is subtle. By the time the effects become noticeable, it's usually too late.
Very, very important line here. Keep that one in mind. Now, onto the decision. We could kill Rana Thanoptis for 9 renegade points, and one could argue that this is a fair punishment for the work she's done for Saren. On the other hand, I feel like she didn't really have a choice in the matter, and therefore, even though we will miss out on the renegade points, I think we can let her go.
I'm gonna blow this place to hell and gone. If you want to make it out alive, you better start running.
What? You can't. But I'll never. Ah!
You enjoyed that.
Well, maybe just a tiny bit. Anyway, since Rana did clear the way to Saren's private lab, that is where we'll go next. But before we enter, let's quickly also grab the contents of the weapon locker over here. Then we can proceed through the door and across the bridge here, and I will now leave you with a few moments of silence in anticipation for the most important conversation, not only in this video, but probably also in the entire game.
Commander, look over here. It's another beacon, like the one on Eden Prime.
Alright, we just found another beacon. That was of course not what I meant when I talked about the conversation earlier, but as we make our way up the stairs here, you will see what I mean.
I get the feeling something bad is about to happen.
You are not Saren.
is that? Some kind of VI interface?
Rudimentary creatures of blood and flesh. You touch my mind, fumbling in ignorance, incapable of understanding.
I don't think this is a VI.
There is a realm of existence so far beyond your own, you cannot even imagine it. I am beyond your comprehension. I am sovereign.
Well, nice to finally meet you. I have to admit, I didn't expect you to be so, talkative.
Sovereign isn't just some Reaper ship Saren found. It's an actual Reaper.
Reaper, a label created by the Protheans to give voice to their destruction. In the end, what they chose to call us is irrelevant. We simply are.
The Protheans vanished 50,000 years ago. You couldn't have been there. It's impossible.
Organic life is nothing but a genetic mutation. An accident. Your lives are measured in years and decades. You wither and die. We are eternal, the pinnacle of evolution and existence. Before us, you are nothing. Your extinction is inevitable. We are the end of everything.
Well, that is quite the threat you make there, but we're not without our own abilities either.
There is an entire galaxy of races united and ready to face you.
Confidence born of ignorance. The cycle cannot be broken.
Cycle? What cycle?
The pattern has repeated itself more times than you can fathom. Organic civilizations rise, evolve, advance, and at the apex of their glory, they are extinguished. The Protheans were not the first. They did not create the Citadel. They did not forge the mass relays. They merely found them. The legacy of my kind.
So what exactly do you gain from letting your own works be discovered by other civilizations, just to eventually wipe them out again?
Why would you construct the mass relays, then leave them for someone else to find?
Your civilization is based on the technology of the mass relays. Our technology. By using it, your society develops along the paths we desire. We impose order on the chaos of organic evolution. You exist because we allow it, and you will end because we demand it.
They're harvesting us. Letting us advance to the level they need, then wiping us out.
Now I fail to understand why you're letting organic life develop in the first place. You're basically only raising us to destroy us again.
What do you want from us? Slaves? Resources?
My kind transcends your very understanding. We are each a nation, independent, free of all weakness. You cannot even grasp the nature of our existence.
I have to say though, that really wasn't an answer to my question. Still, let's ask a few more, maybe we can get a few more definitive answers.
Where did you come from? Who built you?
We have no beginning. We have no end. We are infinite. Millions of years after your civilization has been eradicated and forgotten, we will endure.
And of course, seeing the chaos that one Reaper was able to cause, if there are more of them, that might be an information worth having.
Where are the rest of the Reapers? Are you the last of your kind?
We are legion. The time of our return is coming. Our numbers will darken the sky of every world. You cannot escape your doom.
Okay, the big revelation has taken place. There seems to be something much worse at work here than only a rogue spectre, and we really have no other choice here than to offer a fight.
You're not even alive. Not really. You're just a machine. And machines can be broken.
Your words are as empty as your future. I am the vanguard of your destruction. This exchange is over.
Commander, we got trouble.
Well, you're not the only ones, believe me, but please do tell.
Hit me, Joker.
That ship's Sovereign? It's moving. I don't know what you did down there, but that thing just pulled a turn that would shear any of our ships in half. It's coming your way and it's coming hard. You need to wrap things up in there fast.
This console is shot. Orders, Commander?
I would say we got more than we bargained for. So, yeah, let's get out of here.
Let's head to the breeding facility. Joker can pick us up after we set the nuke.
Alright, and that also brings this long episode to a conclusion. I didn't want to stop it midway through, and I also didn't want to make the cut right before the conversation with Sovereign, so we ended up with something a bit longer than usual. Now, all in all, I think we just experienced the turning point of the Mass Effect 1 storyline. Our conversation with Sovereign just revealed that there is a lot more going on than Shepard and also the Council initially thought, and maybe even a bit more than Saren himself can handle. And Saren will hopefully be the guy we catch in the next episode. As for today, we will make the cut here. I can say thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.